Chapter 18, Thursday, March 19th. Cooper tenses, winds up, and hurls a blistering fastball across home plate. The opposing batter looks like he's swatting at flies when he misses, and the entire stadium erupts into cheers. The batter, down on strikes, hurls his bat towards the dugout in frustration and walks away. Poor sport, Chris murmurs beside me, putting out an arm so Cooper's grandmother, seated on his other side, can lean against him while she gets to her feet for a standing ovation. She does it every time Cooper strikes somebody out, which has been a lot this game. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. We're at Goodwin Field at Cal State Fullerton on Thursday night. Part of a capacity crowd watching Cooper pitch against UCLA. The stadium seating is like horseshoe around the field, and we're almost directly behind home plate in a section that's full of Bayview High students, past and present. I got a ride here with Addie, who corralled Nate as soon as he showed up and is forcing him to be social. I think I got a glimpse of Lewis sitting with a bunch of Cooper's ex-teammates, but I looked away before I could be sure. After 2 weeks of total silence, I don't even know what I'd say if I ran into him tonight. The phone buzzes in my hand. I expect a text from Bronwyn, who's been checking in on Cooper throughout the game, but it's just my mom asking what time I'll be home. I still can't get used to how quiet my phone is ever since I disabled the ping me alerts. I'm glad I listened to Phoebe about that, especially since the Truth or Dare game ended on its own. I like to think that whoever did it stopped out of respect for the fact that Bayview High is mourning Brandon, but it's more than likely they just realized they'd lost everyone's attention. Every once in a while, I still wonder who was behind it all, and whether they had the personal grudge against Phoebe Knox and me, but I guess it doesn't matter. My real problem is that I haven't figured out how to make things up to Knox. Now that I've managed to alienate both him and Lewis, my social circle has shrunk once again to Bronwyn's friends. Well, and Phoebe. At least she's still speaking to me. Cooper throws one of his infamous sliders, and the UCLA batter just stands looking confused while it's called a strike. You might as well sit down right now, young man, Cooper's grandmother calls. You're already out. My mood lifts a little as I lean towards Chris. Naughty heckling batters might be my favorite thing ever. He smiles. Same. Never gets old. You think Cooper will go to the majors next year? I ask. Not sure. Chris looks extra cute in a green polo that brings out his eyes, his dark hair full of golden glints from sitting in so many baseball stadiums. He's really torn. He loves being at school, and the team has been great. Not just about baseball, but everything. He gestures rally to himself. The majors, on the other hand, still aren't particularly welcoming to two gay players. It'd be a tough transition, especially with all the added pressure. But the reality is, his game won't advance the way it needs to if he stays at the college level much longer. I watch Cooper on the mound, disconnected by how I'm disconcerted by how impossible it is to recognize him from this distance. With his hat pulled low over his face, he could be anyone. How do you make that choice? I ask almost to myself, between what you need and what you want. I feel like my sister's going through her own version of that. Chris's eyes are on Cooper, too. You hope they become the same thing, I guess. What if they don't? I have no idea. Chris sucks in a breath as the batter makes contact with Cooper's next pitch, but it's a harmless grounder that the shortstop fields easily. The Padres keep checking in, he adds. They really want him, and they have a high draft position this year. Would it be an easier decision if he could stay local? He'd still have to travel a ton, obviously, but at least he'd be close to home. I don't mean Bayview, exactly. I think Chris knows that. He allows himself a small smile. It might. I smile back through a tangle of conflicting emotions. On one hand, it feels strange to be here with dozens of other Bayview High students in such a cheerful atmosphere 2 weeks after Brandon died. On the other, it's relief to be focused on something positive for a change. I'm happy for Chris and Cooper because they deserve every good thing. I'm excited about their future. Not so much mine, though. I push up the sleeve of my long-sleeve t-shirt to trace the outline of another brood. I feel like a peach left too long on a windowsill right before collapsing on itself. Deceitfully smooth on the outside, but slowly rotting at the core. And I feel it, moisture tickling through my nose. Again. Oh no, not here. I grab tissue from my bag and press it against my face, rising to my feet at the same time. Bathroom, I said to Chris, stepping over him and nodding with a muttered apology on my way to the aisle. The steps clear with nearly everyone in their seats focused on Cooper, so I'm able to make my way to the women's room quickly. I don't look at the tissue until I'm in the stall with the door locked behind me, bright red. I collapse onto the toilet seat and the tears come, silently, but so hard that my shoulders shake. Despite my best efforts at pretending none of this is happening, it is. I don't know what to do. I feel so isolated, hopeless, terrified, and just plain exhausted. Tears mixed with blood as I swipe tissue after tissue over my face until I finally rip at least 3 feet of toilet paper out of the dispenser and bury my head in the entire thing. Both the tears and the nosebleed stop around the same time. I stay where I am for at least another inning, letting my breathing even out and my heart rate slow. Then I stand, flush the mass tissues and toilet paper, and leave the stall. I splash one on my face at the sink, staring at my reflection in the hazy mirror. Could be worse. My eyes aren't all that red, and I'm not wearing any makeup to smudge. I want to brush through my tangled hair, wash my hands, and step outside into the concourse. The restrooms are around the corner from the concession stand, and the first thing I see is a small knot of familiar faces. Sean, Jules, Monica, and Lewis. Jules is wrapped so tightly around Sean that she's in danger of spilling the tray of snacks he's holding. Monica keeps touching Lewis's arms, batting her eyelashes at him. They're all laughing and joking, like they're on the greatest double date of their lives and they don't have a care in the world. For a second, I hate them all. Alright, man. Thanks, Lewis says, handing something to Sean. I gotta go. Monica gives a flirty little pout. You're not leaving, are you? She asks. After all these snacks? Somebody has to share popcorn with me. No way, I wouldn't miss Coop. I'll see you guys back in seats, okay? The other three turn away, still laughing, and Lewis heads in my direction. I should duck into the women's room again, but my legs refuse to cooperate. He stops a few feet away when he spots me. Maeve, hey. His brow furrows as he looks more closely. Everything okay? Maybe my eyes aren't quite as normal as I hope. Fine, I say, and cross my arms and push away the memory of my crying spell in the bathroom. He's an asshole, you know. What? Lewis turns around like he's signifying about someone behind him. Who? Sean. He's been horrible to Knox and Phoebe and other people. Oh, yeah, well, you played ball together, so. He shrugs like that's the only explanation needed. My temper spikes, and I'm glad for the distraction. So you're bros, I say sarcastically. Awesome. Lewis goes still, his eyes narrowing. What do you mean? It means you all stick together, don't you? Dude bros unite. Who cares about anyone else? My skin prickles with residual fear, misplaced anger, and something else I can't put a name to. I guess he can do whatever he wants as long as he throws a ball far enough. Dude bro, Lewis says flatly. That's what you think of me? That's what you are. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. All I know is that it feels good to unleash some of the frustration that's been building us at me for weeks. His jaw ticks. I see. Is that where you dropped off the face of the earth? I didn't. I pause. Okay, maybe I did, but he didn't knock himself out looking for me either. My nose tingles and dread rushes through my spine. Another nosebleed is going to start again soon. I can tell. I have to go. Enjoy your popcorn. Oh, so that's another thing. I'm feeling jealous. Hang on. Lewis' voice is commanding enough that I pause. His shoulders are squared, his face tense. I was hoping to run into you tonight. I wanted to get your number, finally. My heart does a stupid leap despite itself, then crashes back down when he adds, now that I know how you feel about dude bros, I won't bother you, but there's still something I want to send you. It's for Knox, actually, but you're the one here, so. He pulls his phone out of his pocket. Hey, tell me your number. Once you have these, you can go ahead and delete me from your phone, or your life, or whatever. I'm seized with regret, but also the certainty that I'm about to start bleeding in front of him. I snap my number quickly, and Lewis presses a few keys before putting his phone away. Might take a while to come through, to break files. Tell Knox I hope it helps. He strides away, just as a tickle of blood escapes my nose. It starts to fall faster, even dripping under my shirt. But I don't move to wipe away. I don't know what's happened, other than the fact that I was horrible to Lewis for no good reason, and trampled with whatever might have been going on between us straight into the ground. Which sucks, but it's not even close to my biggest problem right now. Maeve, what the fuck? I look up to see Nate carrying a tray full of sodas in each hand, his eyes flicking from my face to the blood on my shirt. I never told him what nosebleeds mean for me, but from the look on his face, Brodwin did. Something breaks inside me, and before I can get a hold of myself, I start crying again. Nate tosses both sodas into a nearby trash can without another word. He pushes an arm around me and leads me out of the main concourse into a side area with a few scattered picnic tables. It's not private exactly, but we're the only ones here. He sets us both down, his arms wrapped around my shoulders. I collapse into him, sobbing against his chest for I don't know how long. Nate keeps pulling crumpled napkins out of his pocket until he runs out, and I press them together in a damp, blood-stained mess. All I can think about while I clutch Nate's jacket, and he keeps a steady hand on my arms, and I'm finally not alone with this. When I sit up at last, wiping my eyes, he said, Bronwyn didn't tell me. I dig a tissue out of my purse and blow my nose. She doesn't know. Nate's dark blue eyes widen. Your parents didn't tell her? They don't know either. Nobody does. Nate, what the fuck? He says again. It doesn't seem like the sort of comment that needs a reply, so I don't. But doesn't this? I mean, just make sure I'm understanding things here. This is something that happens to you when you relapse, right? I nod. So you have to... Why? Why would you keep something like this to yourself? My voice is low and hoarse. You don't know what it's like. What's like? Nate asks. Relapsing. Tell me. It's just... Everything changes. Everyone is sad. Normal life stops. We all climb on this miserable treatment roller coaster that only goes down. It's horrible and it hurts in every way possible. And the worst thing is, it doesn't work. I start crying again if I weren't completely spent. I sat against Nate's shoulder instead, and his arms tightened around me. It never worked for long. 4 years is as long as ever. I thought maybe I'd never do it again. I don't know if I can. Nate is quiet for a few seconds. Okay, he says finally. I get that. This is your life, Maeve. You have to try, don't you think? I'm so unbelievably tired that if I close my eyes right now, I'd sleep for days. It's not a comforting thought. I don't know. If you don't do it for yourself, then do it for your family, okay? His voice gets urgent. Think about your mom and dad and Bronwyn. How would they feel if something happens? They'll drive themselves crazy wondering whether things could have been different if you trusted them enough to tell them. I step in. It's not about trust, but that's what they'll think. I don't reply, and he presses. You know it's what Bronwyn will think. She'll blame herself for not being here or not guessing. It'll eat at her for the rest of her life. Damn him. He just poked my Achilles heel, and he knows it. When I sit up, he already looks relieved. Fine, I mutter, and talk to my parents. As soon as I say it, a wave of relief crosses over me, washing away some of the dread that's been building for weeks. It hits me then how badly I wanted to tell them, but I let myself get frozen with fear and indecision. I need to push. Nate exhales a long breath. Thank Christ. You need to do something for me in return, though, I warn. He raises his eyebrows, quizzical. Get your head out of your ass when it comes to my sister. Nate's surprised laugh breaks tension enough that I smile too. Listen, Maeve, you don't have to worry about Rowan or me. We're endgame. I open a straight tear from the corner of my eye. What does that mean? It means we'll wind up together eventually. It might take a year for us to sort everything out, or 2, or 10, whatever, but it'll happen. Maybe you should tell her that, I suggest. He gives me that famous name, Macaulay grin that always turns my sister into a puddle. She knows. She might not admit it yet, but she knows.